Howdy folks, Doc here with Last Best Tool, and I want to show you this little kind of spinner-like device. This is a GEDORE 7, I'm going to read the number there, it's a 7RA-10, made in Germany. And this is an adapter that has a 6.13 millimeter collar up here, and then the standard 3/8 hex drive. So what that allows you to do is use a standard wrench. It actually allows kind of three main things that I've figured out. Allows you to use a 13 millimeter wrench here. You can insert that going this way for fun. I found it has a metal ring here that I keep bending. So get that lined up, and then you can put a socket on it using this, this quick release button. So then I have basically an unusual shaped wrench. I could reverse it this way too. Find the one that it pops on. There we go. And it turns any 13 millimeter, almost any, I found an exception, 13 millimeter into basically a socket driver. That's one of its uses. If I add a ratcheting mechanism, so I've got a 13 millimeter stubby gear wrench here. Find the when it drops in here. It seems persnickety because I've bent that wire too much. Come on. There we go. Drop that on. So now I've got a small stubby ratchet. Now there is a bunch of play because it's got not only the play of, in this case, the ratcheting mechanism on this gear wrench, but it also has the play of both the 3/8 drive into the socket, which is a tiny bit, and then the entire mechanism of how the ratchet points are grabbing the GEDORE tool, and then the GEDORE tool grabbing the socket. So there is a bunch of play. It's not insurmountable, but you can see that's what I get before I engage the clicking mechanism. Solid little design. What else does it do? It works as a spinner. So it's about 16 millimeters in diameter. So you can see this is a 16 here, 16 snap-on. So that's about the thickness of it. So it's a little smaller than a lot of spinners, but because of this gap here, you can actually grab over it and use the entire surface area of this knurled perimeter. What else though? So I did notice if you take something like, here's an old Craftsman 13 millimeter, if I insert this in, again, for some reason I've got to find the right spot because I caught this little metal retaining wire here and bent it in my playing around. Come on, pick it up. There we go. Anyway, this is too short. All that work, see that? If you look where that ball is, it's just not far enough. It holds this on, but I can pull it off. Something else, though, that's kind of cool is you can run it without anything, not just a spinner, but you can grab it. So I've got my Knipex Cobras here, and we've all grabbed sockets and tried to use it that way occasionally, but this actually does give you a realistic way of grabbing it, but there's that ring that I messed up, so just want to be a little careful or realize the limitation of the thing. It does hold this quite solid, hold the socket on quite solid with this mechanism, and if you notice, this has to go completely recessed before that pops off, so there's no chance in a low profile situation of running it up against a surface because that's still on there tight even though the button's been depressed a little bit there. You can use it across other tools. Here's a 13 millimeter double box end snap-on. If I can get that to seat, pop it in here. Worked beautifully till I messed up the wire. I'm probably going to mess it up again, but I found that it always eventually seats when I line up the point just right. So why would I need a 16? Come on. I really messed it up with the... Yeah, I did. You know what? I might just pull it off. It just won't stay as tight, but that's causing a problem. So let me get some pliers here, and we'll go ahead and remove this what's a good one to use? How about these little electronics snap-ons? Nice. So I'm going to have to work on this thing. Bend that out a little bit, and then come on, there we go. Okay, I don't want to ruin it because I might use that same one again. Guess they're magnetic, huh? Anyway, let's see what that does. So now this will drop in, so I can drop it in the 13 there. This does hold it on. Gives it a unique shape there in terms of the profile. Of course, I could easily reverse this. Now, why do I want a 13? In my kit, after I already decided I don't, well, I was building out my extra bolt set, you know, looking at replacement bolts in various parts of my overlanding vehicle, and it turns out 10 is common and 17 is common, but in the aftermarket, 13 is also common. So I need a 13 millimeter wrench. I thought about just getting by with something like this, but I may end up carrying a 13 millimeter wrench and socket as well, because both sides are 13s. So 13 has entered my kit again, which means now I'll take something that takes a 13 a little more seriously. What else can you do? Well, obviously you can use it with a thin profile, thin-jawed adjustable wrench. You can see that. It's plenty to grab there. This particular guy on Amazon right now was about $19. They also make a 1/4-inch version. I wanted to explore this one. So far, that's a funky little ring there that I'm going to have to figure out. It bends easy and when you're sliding it on and off things. And that leads to one more thing you can do. Whoops. And that is, this immediately gives it this capability as well. So you've put a 3/8 drive, or I mean a 13 millimeter driving end on any socket that this fits into. And that includes if you want to start stacking things. If you need just a little bit more, you can throw on an extension. It is not really taking the place of a, boy, that's greasy from my last use. Not really taking the place of a good socket or a ratchet driver, but it does offer a few more abilities. And the ability to turn a 13 millimeter into a socket handle seems to be kind of handy. I'm still playing around with it. So when would you use this instead of a wrench? Well, probably the same amount of places where you may want a socket as well. Or what I found is using, this is I think a 15-degree offset on the snap-on, that this actually does allow you to get in, whereas normally you would have to throw on an extension to get into that same grabbing space because of the angle. Just kind of another tool option. And it's made in Germany, GEDORE. It's a little bit I think other companies make it. It's not a unique design. It's a little bit of a kind of an odd tool. Snap-on, I believe, makes something like this as well. A few times I've looked at it and then just thought, what would I do with it? And theirs is a lot more money, obviously, than this GEDORE. So that's why I've hesitated. I didn't have a direct use, although as commenters have pointed out, that doesn't stop me from getting tools. But I did find that once the 13 problem was overcome, and I ended up, you know, deciding that I would have 13s in my kit, then all of a sudden this thing started to make some more sense. Anyway, just thought I'd bring that to your attention if you haven't seen one in action. That's it. The GEDORE 7 RA-10. And with that, Doc out.